That's the way to do it. All right. Okay, so how's it going? Another episode of AOJ with my secret friend, right? Banning Liebscher. I said secret friend Banning because I don't share a lot that we're actually friends, right? It's one of those. It'll either be one of those.
What are you ashamed of me?
No, no.
What are you like
No.
embarrassed? What are you embarrassed by?
Because it automatically turns into.
I'm too white for you. That's the problem. I'm way too pale. Way too pale.
It automatically turns into you're lying, right? You're lying. Prove it, right? Like, okay, look, let me call him up right now.
That's awesome.
Or oh, really? Why is he friends with you? So I don't know how to take that, right? I don't know how to take that. I remember one time someone asked me, oh, you're friends with him for real? I was like, yeah, I don't even know. I think Rashawn told him. And I was like, yeah, I know him. We know each other. We're good. So, how did you meet him? And then I stayed quiet. And then he like looked down at his feet. He's like, it's fine. You don't have to tell me. And I was like, no, I just want to make sure. I want to make it the fast version.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But anyway, how you doing?
Long story. Dude, I'm doing well. I mean, overall, I'm doing good. The world's on fire and we're locked in but at the end of the day, I'm doing good and you know, just figuring out how to navigate all that's going on, a lot of good. And I think God's in the middle of a whole bunch of it. So I'm doing good. And I've been doing like home projects while I'm in quarantine. So.
Yeah. During quarantine, my wife changed my name to Jay Fix-It.
Oh yeah. Well, 100%. Well, I'm not handy at all. I've never bought a drill. I bought my first drill that I've ever bought. I bought during quarantine because I was out there like making planter boxes for my wife. So, you know, that's me now, you know, next level. If you need a drill, I have one. And, and I feel manly because of it.
I made one too. I made a planter box.
There you go.
My wife has been able during quarantine to turn her black thumb, because before anything she planted or tried to grow would die within days.
Yeah.
But God has shown her mercy, and now her thumb is green. We have all types of vegetables I'll never eat growing in the backyard.
That's amazing. Well, listen, man, if the world goes crazy, you'll at least be able to live for 2 days.
Dude, I got yesterday I fixed our sinks in the bathroom. Right. And I'm the guy that it had a leak. I'm the guy that I'll hire somebody.
Of course.
Before I'll mess things up.
I'm just trying to contribute to the economy. Here's what's crazy for me is there are guys I know that find real satisfaction in fixing things. Like they feel a sense of whatever. So I'll get in and try to tackle some toilet, which I tried to yesterday and failed. But whenever I tackle something that it's something simple too, and I'll spend my 2 hours on it, afterwards, I don't feel a satisfaction at all. I'm like, I don't know what these guys are feeling after this. Because I could have watched a movie and been even more fulfilled. Like I know I don't quite get what's going on here, but there are some guys I know, man, they just love putting their hands to something. So, you know, God bless them, and I call them to come over and help.
I'm not that guy either. We're alike. I spent hours on this sink for a leak yesterday. I went to Home Depot. I spent like $40.
Yes.
And when I finally figured it out, it was like a tiny little washer that cost me like $1.
Yeah.
So I've got like $30 worth of stuff that I can't take back.
And it wasn't even $30. It was the 4 hours. The 4 hours that I just gave for this thing.
Yeah, but I did the toilet. I did the toilet in the beginning of quarantine because my daughter wanted to take a Daniel Tiger toothbrush for a swim.
That's hilarious.
And she flushed it and she flooded the whole toilet. And I'm like, I'm just going to call a buddy of mine. But then quarantine happened, right? Nobody could come over. So
yeah, that's our life right now.
I had to take the entire toilet apart and take it off.
Just understand this. If we were some of the first pioneers to come into some land, so we would have died. I would have died. I would have made it a week, and that's about it, because it would have been all over.
But
let's just admit that about ourselves. All right.
But at least I would have had some tomatoes.
And squash. The two things we can grow: tomatoes and squash.
Tomatoes and squash and cucumbers. We already have whatever. But anyway, when I originally asked you to join me for an episode of AOJ, I wanted you to discuss the difference between social distancing and spiritual distancing, right? But right, and
a lot's happened since then.
Right, exactly. Right now there's a lot going on in your city as well as mine, and and everything's different. Like everything's different. Everything is like extremely different. Before, the world was on fire. Now it's an inferno, right? Yeah. And little fires everywhere. A series I started watching last night. There you go.
Come on.
But so now you've gone from trying to pastor, the way all pastors and all churches have had to change things up, to now also being I guess a beacon, right? For not just not a beacon, not just for the new way of living for now, but then also for the ongoing conversations of racial conciliation. How you guys doing with that?
Well, I mean, it's heavy. It's serious stuff that's going on. I think I'm grateful that we started this conversation for our community before this moment. So although this moment has heightened it and brought it to the forefront in a way that like we just have to talk about.
Right.
This isn't something that we haven't talked about or tried to be on my own journey in our church's journey for a while. But yeah, my goal right now with both the quarantine, with all the stuff that's happening with the issues of race, my goal is to help our church and whoever will listen outside of our church that would say, hey, I'm interested in listening, help them navigate this in a kingdom way. I think God is up to something. I think I don't think he sent the virus, but I think that he's doing something in the middle of this. And I think the church is going to come out stronger and better because of it. The racial stuff that's going on, I think the Lord is bringing things to the forefront, and I think much of it is because the church hasn't, so the world does, and so I think that there's going to be good stuff that comes out of this, and so just trying to help our people navigate it in a kingdom way has kind of been what's been on my heart.
Yeah.
And as a white person, I don't. As a leader but as a white person, I just feel like it's James 1:19 right now, that we're to be quick to listen and slow to speak. I think that's what humility looks like. I think that's what's needed. And so I'm mainly talking to white people right now at this moment. In all honesty, I'm trying to help white people kind of navigate this season with humility, with introspection, with looking at the nation, the reactions that are coming, or the different mindsets that are political, that are religious, that they want to go in. And so that's what I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying to sit down. We've been sitting down. I'm not saying this about ourselves in the back. I've been trying to sit down with leaders of color for a while and just listen.
I remember that.
Friends of color for a while and just listen. And it's helped me a ton. So now that this is in the nation, I'm just trying to bring those friends and say, would you come and sit with me so that other people can hear you as well, that are white, and inviting people along in this journey. We have a lot of work to do, obviously. Our church is not, the, beacon for everybody to look at of what a multi-ethnic, multicultural church looks like. We have a lot of work to do, but I am trying to get people just to humble themselves, to go on this journey, to listen well, and to understand that there are some mindsets that get in that are not kingdom, and I'm trying to go after those.
Right. You see, I'm going to say something real controversial, which, I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find the right words. me being Puerto Rican, right? And I've had this, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I sat down with Rasan and with Phil, and we three different viewpoints, three different, one conversation.
Yeah.
And me being Puerto Rican, I explained to them how I got, I guess the good word is guff, right? To make one up from both sides, right? Growing up in New York, but being raised where I was raised in New York City and whatever, it's we saw a lot of racism, right, against us, right? I've been thrown on the floor a lot, even one time while going to church, right? I'm on my way to church with my giant Pentecostal Bible, and that's it, right? But the thing is that in New York City, you're forced to have relationships and be around
Yes.
different cultures and different walks of life and whatever, right? So, and I mean, just I'm sorry, my secret friend, but even just you and I, right? There is a time where believers, and I think that, because what I want to get into is the posture of the church as a whole, right?
Yeah.
There is a time where believers have to remember, or I guess get into the mindset that, we're one body in Christ.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever's going on, right? And I have this conversation with my wife because, like, my wife is, were she born here, she'd be considered white, but she's Polish. Like, she's only been here for a few years. So a lot of this is new to her.
Yeah.
But the deal is that, we're having this conversation.
How many Puerto Ricans marry a Polish girl?
Actually, after I married my wife, it turns out that one of my cousins is also married to a Polish girl.
That has got to be. That's a story somewhere. That's amazing. Keep going.
And I didn't
apologize.
So no, it's funny because a lot of people ask me, "Wait, your wife's from Poland?"
Yeah.
How did you do that? I said hi.
I want to know what your fights are like.
Actually, we rarely fight.
So there it is. You don't even fight. It's amazing.
Yeah, we rarely fight. But
that's because she's always right and you're always wrong, and it just.
I mean, that doesn't even need to be said. That's me all.
All right, continue. I cut you off. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But the thing is that I've seen, and with me personally, and then, social media is a tool from hell. Right? Like, Twitter was created by Satan himself.
Yes.
But I've seen a lot of Christians, right, or people who say they're Christian or have Christian on their bio, right, with these staunch standings where it's either political first or it's complete rejection, right? Without, there's no posture of grace or of listening, like you said not too long ago. So I want to know, like, which is the more difficult conversation to have? The conversation with the Black community or people of color that go to your church that finally find, through tragedy, they finally find a platform or something where their voices can be heard and where they can be seen, or the white community that they're either left or right, or they're just complete, like, because I've gotten people telling me, you're lying, you're caught up in the machine, racism isn't real. Like,
yeah, well, I
have bruises and stab wounds that tell me differently.
I'll unpack what I think is going on with that. One, obviously, we're a predominantly white church, but I think have a great showing of people that are deeply invested in our church that are people of color. These are people that are very connected into our community, are part of leadership and all that type of stuff. But I do feel that my job right now is probably more pastoring white people than people of color. I will come alongside people of color right now and obviously just try to, whatever. I'll pass through them, but my focus is probably more white people right now in this time. But here's what I would say. So this will all unpack for everybody listening. We first and foremost, when you're talking about one body, we're kingdom people.
Yes.
So when you got saved, you were, what Colossians says, transferred into the kingdom, from the kingdom of darkness to the kingdom of light, the kingdom of the Son. So what we know is this: we know that we're kingdom people. We need to think like the kingdom. We need to approach things like the kingdom. We need to act like the kingdom. And in order for that to happen, our mind has to be renewed,
yes.
which means we are susceptible to thinking like the world, not the kingdom. So the Holy Spirit comes to renew our mind, to get it to repent, to change the way we think. And so you've got to have your mind renewed. And the kingdom is an opposite kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So the kingdom is, if you want to save your life, lose it. If you want to be first, be last. If you want to be the greatest, be the servant. If you want to inherit the kingdom, be a child. You love those who hate you. You do good to those who curse you. You know, like this is the, you die if you want to, bear fruit. It's an opposite kingdom, and it takes the renewing of our mind to think like the kingdom. So the kingdom, it says, is like leaven. It's in you, and God wants to change the world through you by bringing the kingdom like leaven into the world. The problem is that Jesus says we are to beware of two other types of leaven. So the kingdom, we have to change our mindset and think like the kingdom. Our mind has to be renewed to think like the kingdom.
Yeah.
But there's also thinking of the world, and it manifests in the leaven of Herod and the leaven of the Pharisees. And Jesus actually said, beware of these two things. And that word beware means he wants you to see it. The beware is like seeing it, and not just my physical eyes, but perceiving it.
Right.
That he says, I don't want you to be blind, that there's two leavens, and it doesn't take much to get in and leaven the whole loaf. It doesn't take much of this thinking to ruin everything.
Yeah.
And it is the leaven of the Pharisees, leaven of Herod. So I'll just take just a second. This is me rambling, but what you're describing, the leaven of the Pharisees is the religious spirit. The leaven of Herod is the political spirit. Now, the religious spirit is anchored in pride, and it is anchored in arrogance. And it is devoid of love and care, and is not interested in treating you like a brother, a sister, or even a friend.
Right.
And so what happens is that there's an arrogance in the religious spirit that I think manifested in John 9. In John 9, the blind guy gets healed by Jesus. Now, this was an outcast in society. He was a beggar. He was looked down upon. He gets healed. He comes before the Pharisees. They say, what happened? He says, well, I got healed. They don't even believe his experience. They literally diminish and downplay his experience and say, well, we don't think you were blind. So his parents come in. They said, well, he was blind. They're like, all right. And then they say, well, who do you think he was? They said, well, I don't know. He must have been a prophet if he healed me. And they say, oh, who are you? Who are you to teach us? You have nothing to teach us. In fact, you were born in sin. And they just, not only do they diminish his experience, but they just reject him.
Right. They reject him.
So you're literally looking at arrogance and pride at work, and it's manifesting in the lives of people right now. When all of a sudden somebody like you would come, I just had this happen, where we sat down with 4 of the Black members of our church, and I just said, would you just share your experience? How are you experiencing the George Floyd death? And they just unpacked their experiences. And then we still have people that want to give them stats, just what you said, racism isn't real. Like, they're just sharing their heart and their experience. And somebody will come back with a Candace Owens video, and here's the stats, and there's more white people killed by Black people. I mean, there's more white people killed by officers than there are Black people. And the problem is, it's devoid of any type of care or love, and it's filled with arrogance, because I'm not treating you now like a friend or a brother or a sister. I'm just, look, well, you don't know the facts. And facts aren't attacking. Facts are facts. And it's just this arrogance. And then the arrogance that pops up is, and you know what else? Not only are you wrong, not only is your experience not accurate, because let me give you a bunch of stats. Let me give you a bunch of stats to tell you why you're wrong. with your heart that you just shared. But also, I actually know what's best for you. I know what's best for Puerto Ricans, and I know what's best for your entire community. Not the fathers of the faith, not the generals in the body of Christ,
right?
Because of color, because they've just been hijacked by a leftist agenda. I know what's best for you. And it's actually a pretty easy fix. Stop being a victim and just stop buying into MSNBC that tells you racism exists, because it doesn't exist. So there you go. That's what's best for you. And I know what's best for you and your community. Not all of these other godly people. They've just been hijacked. So my point is this: that's the religious spirit. It is rooted in arrogance. It was rooted in pride. I'm not listening. I'm not interested in listening to you. I'm not interested in listening to this blind man who was born in sin. I'm going to diminish you, dismiss you, reject you, because you don't get to come speak into my life. And there's an arrogance there that I'm just going, guys, this is the mindset of the religious spirit. And so you know what's opposite of that? Humility.
Yes.
It's humility, that I would humble myself. The thought that I may not know everything. I may have something to learn. It's all of this type of stuff. And the fact that I can just humble myself. And even if I'm right, even if all my stats are right, I still care.
Exactly.
I care. I'm interested. And I would say this. Here's the problem with the religious spirit. Jesus said there's no greater love than a man has than to lay down his life for a friend. Guys, I'm watching online going, dude, you're doing nothing to actually, love cannot manifest if you treat this person like they're not a friend.
Exactly.
So Jay, me and you may disagree, which I don't think we do, but like we may have
sure
we may have real disagreements over things. But if I act like if I'm not working towards friendship, love at its fullest can't manifest between us. And so my point is, this is that religious spirit, and believers don't even know it's there. But I'm looking online, I'm like, dude, you don't even look like you're on the same team, let alone the same family.
Right.
Like we're all the same team. We're all the same family. So, okay, this is my long thing, but I'm the guest, I guess. So I get to ramble as long as I want. But the second thing you're describing, is the spirit, is the leaven of Herod, which is the spirit, the political spirit. And what the political spirit does is the political spirit tries to divide, and it motivates by fear. So it first tries to divide. So the political spirit says this: you're either in group A or you're in group B. Yeah. And you actually have to be in group A or B. You don't get to not be. And if you don't decide, I'm going to put you in group A or B.
No. Being Puerto Rican, I'm supposed to be in group, let's say A, automatically. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Yeah, no,
right? Automatically.
Yeah. No, we'll say Democrats are group B. I'm just kidding.
Okay. So that's group B.
I'm kidding. So you're group A or B, and you decide or I decide. And I'm going to decide because I know your heart and I know your intentions and I know what you posted. You didn't post fast enough. You posted too fast. You didn't say the right thing. So now you're in group A. Now you're in group A, which means this: you have to agree with every single thing in group A.
Yes.
You also have to denounce and disagree with every single thing in group B. And I define you by what you're against, not for what you're for.
Right.
So group A is defined by the fact that they're against group B. And so this is what happens. And then if you're in group A and you don't agree with something in group A, well, you're in group B then.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatically in group B. So this is, and then it's driven by fear. So politicians are elected through fear. So they want to say, here's all the bad stats. The nation is horrible. Fear of losing money, fear of losing power, fear of losing comfort, fear of losing the whatever. Like, I'm afraid. So the country's going to get worse if you don't elect me. So I elect you because I'm afraid the country's going to hell if I don't elect you because it's so horrible. Right. So it's motivated by fear. And then it manifests in the church by the fear of deception. Well, because this is a big one. This is a big one. They're afraid if I talk about, hey guys, I think the Lord's on this issue of really recognizing that Black lives haven't mattered. Black lives matter.
Nope.
And we need to have let's have a conversation about that. And has the nation, and is there unjust systems in the world that are not representing justice, that are not representing righteous? Are there police officers that are not held accountable? Let's have this conversation. Man, the minute you have that conversation, the political spirit, because it's driven by fear, has to come in and give you stats, and is now petrified that because you said Black Lives Matter, you are now an ardent supporter of the organization Black Lives Matter, which
Yes.
Let me send you every video and stat I have that says the organization Black Lives Matter is pro-abortion, is pro-gay marriage, is for the abolishing of police forces, is for looting, violence, and killing of cops. So if I have this conversation about Black Lives Matters, there's so much fear around, I'm now going to fall off this leftist cliff. and like all of a sudden, I'm going to lead an entire generation to believe for abortion, gay marriage, the killing of cops. And then we're going to get all these Democrats elected and they're going to ruin the nation. Like, that's the fear that comes.
It's so funny because that was sent to me just yesterday,
Yes.
just last night.
And so this is what I'm saying. I'm like, no, we're kingdom people. I'm not actually driven by fear. And the Bible tells me that I haven't been given a spirit of fear, but but of love, of power. And then here it is, a sound mind, which means this: I have the ability to talk through things without going down some crazy road. Like, we're so afraid of being deceived. We're so afraid of being lied to, and so everybody's like, well, you've taken your lead by, this is what I've been accused of MSM, and you're just buying into the leftist thing, as if somehow I don't have a brain.
Right. Like, you don't have a mind of your own.
As if somehow I haven't thought through stuff, or as if I really take my lead from these people rather than leaning in, listening to God. We're kingdom people. And so this is what happens though. And there's a lack of maturity around this issue that says, if I stop, so kingdom people understand this. Because I'm not A or B, I'm kingdom.
Yes.
Which means this: I can grieve with those who are grieving. So I can actually grieve with the African American community who are mourning the loss of another Black man. I can grieve with his family, his mother, his dad, his cousin. I can grieve with those who are grieving, while simultaneously honoring police officers and the incredibly difficult job they have, and giving honor there, while simultaneously speaking up against injustice and unrighteousness and systems that oppress people. I can actually do all of that at the same time.
Right.
But the political spirit says I can't. No. If you grieve with this Black family, you're against police officers. If you honor police officers, you're against Black lives. And I actually go, that's actually not true. It's a political game I won't play. And I also don't need to qualify every time I talk about, hey, as if the world systems are all Christ-like, just, and righteous.
Exactly.
As if every system in the world. So if I say, hey, I am concerned about systems that are broken and geared towards not fairness and justice for a certain group of people, that if I am concerned about police officers that would be arrogant and not right, I'm concerned about that. And then, but I have to qualify by saying I still think they're good cops.
Right.
I still think they're a good cop. Now you got to understand me. I'm a police officer's kid. My dad was 30 years in the police. My dad was 30 years in the police force. I come from a police officer family. So I literally, my brother-in-law is a sheriff. My nephew is a CHP. Not to get dramatic, but 21 years ago, my other brother-in-law was shot and killed in the line of duty. So I come from a police officer family, but people want you to qualify. Well, there's really good cops. And I just want to say, of course they're good cops. They go to our church. These are godly men who I am so grateful are in the system, who I'm not praying for less of them. I'm praying for more godly men like the police officers in our church who would go out and be vessels of healing and reconciliation in the world. But why do I have to qualify? There are good cops simply because I'm having a conversation about things I'm concerned about. It's fear.
It is.
It's fear that somehow, we're going to offend, or we're going to talk bad, or we're going to diminish police officers. And I'm like, I have great respect for police officers, and I would never be ashamed of that. And
Yeah.
I grew up a cop's kid. It is an extremely difficult job.
I went to one of the protests here in Georgia. And after the protest, I texted and called a friend of mine who was a cop, right?
Yes.
Right. Nice guy, loves the Lord, but he's in New York City, so he has to deal with all of that New York City stuff while automatically seen as the enemy, right? Oh no, you have the uniform, you're one of them, right? Yeah. And then at the same time have family members attack me because they think I'm on one side, and the other, and then people that I look up to and admire sending me the Candace Owens video.
Yes.
And then sending me screenshots of the record, of George Floyd's record, right? These are people of God, right? That I've looked up to, that I've like contacted whenever I need prayer, whenever I need, help, right? Sending me these things, forgetting that number one, I can think for myself. Number two, I work for the news. I see all of these things like way before any of them do, right? But in the end, as you said, right, as believers, as kingdom people, our first response and reaction should always be one of compassion, one of love, one of mercy, right? Because nothing else, like God, Jesus himself would not stop first and say, oh, well, but, right? Yeah. Where are the Samaritans? Where are the good Samaritans? We need more good Samaritans pouring into this and trying to, comfort, talk, have these conversations, praying for these people. If my 5-year-old son, when I told him why he couldn't go to the protest with me, and he asked me, well, what is that? I have to explain what's a protest and whatever. But then he started crying. He started crying, and he asked me, but Bobby, why are people so mad? And I told him what happened. I said, but why are they fighting with each other? They need to pray to God so that God can help them, right? Now, and he says that, and I'm crying because it's so simple, right? It's so simple, but we get so caught up on worldly things, on a secular mindset, that we forget that we're godly people. And our mind needs to be changed. We're kingdom people, and our mindset needs to reflect the kingdom. We need to have a kingdom mindset for all things.
Absolutely. And I would just say this. I would just challenge anybody. I'll challenge my white friends who are listening right now, and I'm for you, 100% for you. I'm a pastor, and I love people, and I want to walk with them. And it feels like we always have to qualify as well around the white guilt or white shame. Like I don't think any of that stuff's from the Lord, but we have to understand that when we're sending our friends who are people of color, this video and this thing, we better make sure it's not because we are afraid they are being misled. And I think that that's what's going on. I'm afraid you're being misled. And I actually don't think that you have a sound mind. And so we have to just be careful. Listen, are there people reacting? Do I stand for all the Black Lives Matters? Of course not at all. They're a secular organization that does not reflect kingdom values.
Right.
Do I think the Lord is trying to highlight Black lives in this moment? Yes, absolutely. That's not the latest fad for me. I think that we're in that moment. But do I stand for everything that's going on? Do I believe that some of these young guys are getting swept up and caught up in the emotion and aren't actually thinking through some stuff, kingdom-wise, whatever else? Yes, absolutely. But I also believe that a lot of people, they'll get there. It takes them a little bit of time. it takes a little, they're kind of swept up into the moment, and then they kind of start heading down this direction, but all of a sudden they stop and they're looking around and going like, oh, this doesn't reflect my core values at all.
Yeah.
So then how do I kind of like, I think people are smart people, and I think they're not going to fall off a cliff. I think they'll find their way and get centered again in kingdom. I'm talking about centered in kingdom. So, I'm with you on all that stuff, man. I'm with you.
So let's get off of that for a minute. Let me open this little web page that I have here. It caught my eye. So I see that you've got a new book, The 3 Mile Walk, right? And I was gonna buy it. I was gonna buy it yesterday, but then I saw that you've got like a video series that goes along with it. I saw actually it's on Amazon Prime. I'm like, hey, baby, look what I just bought. But then I started reading what it was about. What is it? Equip you with practical guidance to be and do all that God has called you to, right?
Yeah.
About answering, instructions for answering your calling, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, that's awesome. If anybody could do that, it's Banning, right? Because he did it for me, but he didn't do it in the book. He did it in 2 sentences.
What were those 2 sentences?
He did it in 2 sentences. In 2 sentences, you told me when we met, which is why I pursued a friendship with you, because I'm like, this guy doesn't know me from a hole in his head, but also you weren't afraid to just be like, hey, stop the nonsense, right? I was telling you how I was running away from this whole calling to be a pastor, and you just happened. I don't remember what you were teaching on at the conference, at the Jesus Culture conference, the leadership thing.
Yeah.
And I said, but like I'm just really afraid, right? Because pastors have not been nice to me, right? I'm really afraid. And you was like, yeah, it's good that you're afraid, but sometimes you just gotta face your fear and do what God calls you to do, and not get beat up with a bat. Like, what are you talking about a bat? Yeah, because like you either follow the call or God will beat you up until you finally fall in. And I'm like, that's happening now. Right? Because it's true. It's true. I mean,
yeah,
it's true. I mean, it's not so.
God's gonna get you there.
It's not so simple. Yeah, exactly. Like something. Yes. And you're gonna keep hitting that wall until finally, you're like, all right.
Totally.
Fine, I'm good.
I've found that God is phenomenal at opening doors, and he's really good at closing doors. And both eventually get you where you're supposed to go.
So talk to me about this book before I actually do buy it.
Yeah, my heart, you know me for a little bit. In the 25 years of ministry for me, my heart's just to come alongside people, right, and give them courage. Just encourage them, hopefully inspire them, challenge them. But I think what I found in both biblically and in the 25 years of ministry is that people are most alive, they're most fulfilled, they're most thriving when they are fully engaged in what God's called them to be. And that all of us have a call in our life. Every single person listening right now, you are called by God, and it's 2 parts. You're called to be someone, and you're called to do something. So God's trying to shape you, mold you, form you to look like Jesus. And then out of your identity, he's called you to mission, which is he's called you to partner with him to see his plans and purposes established in the earth. So for those 2 things, I want to see people awakened to that call, but not just awakened, engaged. See, what separates you is not your call, because everybody is called by God. Agreed. Everybody is called to be someone, and everybody is called to do something in the earth. What separates you isn't your call. What separates you is your response to the call, whether or not you're going to get up and engage it. So that's what the book's about. And we talk about the 3 things needed: holiness, courage, faith. But it's out of the story of 1 Samuel 16, where It's this incredible contrast between King Saul. So the Israelites are encamped against the Philistines, one on one on the other hill. And then there's a 3-mile valley. It's called the 3-mile walk because there's a 3-mile valley between them. And then, King Saul is content with his army just to sit underneath the pomegranate tree from a distance and just kind of look at his call, but not engage it. And then Jonathan, something awakened in the heart of Jonathan. And he said, I don't want to sit. I got to get up and engage. I got to be the man that God has called me to be. I've got to do what God has called me to do and to go engage that. And then when you engage it, you find you need a massive amount of courage, faith, what's holiness. But this is my prayer for people, that God would stir a divine dissatisfaction inside of you, that you would refuse to sit on the sideline of your destiny, and you would refuse to settle for anything less than all that God has for you. And when you get up and do it, it's going to be scary. You're going to be in over your head. It's going to take a massive amount of courage. So you'll face discouragement. You're going to face seasons of delay. It's going to require faith. Holiness is the first step. But all of those things are needed. But it first starts with just an awakening and something that says, I'm not going to sit anymore. I'm going to get up and go after this, no matter how scary it might be.
See, only you can say something like that. You go through a season of discouragement.
Yeah, well, listen, this is the deal. If courage is needed, then discouragement is the way the enemy comes at us.
Right. It's just that, right? And you say that, and lately I've turned to you for a lot of my my pastoring fears, right? That I still have. I just haven't bothered you because there's so much going on lately. But right now, during quarantine, I've got all this extra time because I'm not commuting back and forth an hour each way, right? So I've been having more conversations with God, and it's one of those, him beating me up conversations. And right now I am like, all right, you know what? If I'm gonna try this again, let me be smarter this time. Yeah. Because before I was brought along, all right, I'm gonna walk with you, and then, oh no, wait a minute, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna walk with you. You're on your own, right? And that's my fear now. My fear now is like, all right, I'm ready to do this, God. I think I'm healed, and if not, I'm healed enough where I know to come crying to you, and I'm smart enough to know that I need people. But like, I'm scared. I'm I'm scared of finding people, right? I'm scared of finding people. Right now, it's like, all right, well, you're gonna have to tell me, hey, walk with this guy. I'm gonna bring this guy into your life so that he can walk alongside you. Because, I mean, my wife and I have both. We both suffered from that, right? Yeah. It's both of us, and we're doing this monthly worship thing where these college kids, I told you, they consider me like they're weird. They're pastor. I'm like, hey, Pastor Jay, you're such a pastor. But
PJ.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody called me the other day. I said, what'd you call me? But for me, in my brain, it's not real, right? Because it's only a monthly thing, but it's grown. Like, it's grown. Right now, I'm getting phone calls and text messages. Hey, when are we doing this again? When are we doing this? When are we going to start?
But it's who you are. It's who you are. That what's happening is just a manifestation of your identity. And that's what I'm saying. You're coming to grips with, this is who God's called me to be. Therefore, I've got to go pursue it. And it's scary. And it there's the possibility of failure, which we hate. And there's all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, the Lord's speaking to you about your identity. And now what's beginning to manifest is your mission is connected to your identity. And that's listen, guys, it's a scary walk, man. It just is. This is the thing, and you know this, but I'm afraid God won't be with me. Guess how you find out what's truth? Not by never moving. I'm not sure God will go with me. Guess how you find out if he's going to go with you? you go. You go.
Yeah.
You don't find out by not going.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you take that risk and God shows up.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to encourage, there goes my light, encourage everyone. My light just went like this.
Okay, that's awesome.
Encourage everyone to do themselves a favor. Well, everyone, and get that book. If you don't mind, I'm gonna get a link from your assistant so I can put it on my website.
Love it.
And yeah, and get it for my wife and I. Thank you again.
Yeah, it's great to be with you, Jay. Seriously,
Carving some time out.
Always good to connect in the midst of COVID. Appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate what you're doing, Pastor Jay.
Stop it.
Appreciate what you're doing, Pastor
Stop it. Hey,
Jay.
I need, as soon as everything clears, I need you to hurry up and fly out here.
All right,
I missed you the last time you were here.
I'll get up there soon enough. I need the NBA to start though, and so that won't be till next year, right? So come on now. We can't even talk. I can't even get into the NBA right now. It's good time.
No, but that's it. No, I'm good. You need the NBA to start. I need baseball. Like it's like I'm going through withdrawal.
You're gonna get 50 games.
No, that's trash.
Tell it's trash.
It might not even happen.
I know. I'm following it. Following it.
Thank you. Catch you next time. I know you're busy. You're a busy man. All right? Be good.